Well now, if y'all got the time and the mind to hear, let me spin you a tale that's as deep as the mines and old as the red clay of these hills. We're talking about Red Dog Road, that twisty, turny stretch up in Harlan County where shadows move in ways that'll make the hair on the back of your neck prickle something fierce. But afore we get to the ghostly goings-on, y'all gotta know about the place itself, about the folks who carved their lives out of this here rock and the road that's seen more hardship than most ever could reckon. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Kentucky Melody, where we celebrate the wild beauty, rich history, and mysterious tales of the Bluegrass State. Right now, you're listening to one of the many spine-chilling stories in our Scary Stories from Kentucky podcast playlist, a collection guaranteed to stir your imagination and send a shiver down your spine. If you're enjoying these stories and want to take your love for Kentucky lore even deeper, consider joining our membership and becoming a backwoods believer. Members get access to exclusive perks, behind-the-scenes content, and a chance to support the channel that brings the spirit of Kentucky to life. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that notification bell, and drop us a comment with your own favorite Kentucky tales. Your support means the world, and it helps keep these stories rolling on down the road. They call it Red Dog Road, and that name's got a story of its own. Red Dog ain't a hound or some old legend. It's the stuff that used to line the mining roads around these parts. See, back when coal was king and Harlan's hills roared with the clatter of picks and the groan of mule carts, the byproducts of mining were piled up by the ton. Low-grade coal, mixed with shale and burnt near to useless, was crushed underfoot and spread across the paths to keep them solid. Turn those roads a rusty, blood-red color that caught the eye and stirred up tales as old as the mountains. Now, it warn't just the roads that were rough. Nah, life here was a fight every day. Miners would go down into the earth before the sun ever cracked the sky, the weight of the mountain pressing down on their backs, and they wouldn't come back up till their legs were so shaky they couldn't hold a full step. They'd dig for 12, 16 hours with nothing but the light from a carbide lamp flickering like it was too scared to burn bright in the dark. The air, thick with coal dust, found its way deep into a man's chest, laying there like a curse that'd see him coughing up black till his last breath. Them who came up out of the mines were the lucky ones. Many a day the air'd go sour with methane, and that's all it'd take. A spark, one little mistake, and boom, the mountain'd roar and swallow men whole. And don't think for a second that danger didn't wear on the womenfolk neither. While the men clawed at the rock below, the women kept the home, scrubbing black coal dust from every crack and cranny, raising young'uns who'd hear the whistle blow and hope their daddy'd come walking through the door. The little ones grew up with coal in their veins, and by the time a boy was old enough to know what the inside of a mine looked like, he was sent right down there to earn his keep. The girls had learned to sew patches on pants torn by the mines and cook meals that'd keep a belly full on next to nothing. That was Harlan, a place where the sky might be blue, but life was as gray as the dust that settled over it all. Now, let's talk about why Red Dog Road ain't just a dusty old path in the woods. Back in the 1930s, when the coal wars raged hotter than a forge, there was a man named Jasper Bellamy. He was a miner, strong and mean as a bear when riled. But what did him in wasn't a cave-in or black lung, it was jealousy. Rumor had it he believed another man had caught the eye of his wife. Jasper's rage blinded him, and in that blind fury he struck down poor Lester Tate, a lad barely old enough to shave. But that's where Jasper's tale takes a turn darker than the mines he worked in. When the rage lifted and he saw what he'd done, he knew there was no peace left for him on this side of the veil. Some folks say he took to the woods, wandering until the mountain swallowed him whole. And Lester, his spirit didn't rest easy. Stories say that if you're up Red Dog Road on a night when the moon's not much more than a sliver, you'll see a flicker of light moving from tree to tree. Lester's lantern, they call it, searching for justice, or maybe something Jasper stole that can't be returned. But Jasper and Lester's tale ain't the only one to hang heavy on that road. You got the sound of footsteps that come out of the woods when the world's so still you'd swear you were hearing your own heartbeat. Only these steps don't match the rhythm of no man you can see. They creep slow, deliberate, like a watchman on patrol, waiting to see who dares tread where they oughtn't. And then there's the Shadow Man, as the locals call him. Ain't like the flickers or the whispers. This figure stands tall, blacker than pitch, in the middle of the road, watching with eyes that ain't there. Old Mrs. Carver, who lived past 90 and saw more of Harlan's troubles than most, once swore she saw him one night. She said he stood so still she could hear her heart beating in her ears like the drum of war, and in a blink he was gone, like the dark itself pulled him away. In 1969, the tale of Red Dog took on a chill that didn't leave with the seasons. They found a girl up there in the woods, her body still, and her name unknown. The sheriff's boys buried her up there on Red Dog, under a simple stone that said unidentified. She lay there for near 50 years, watched over by nothing but the wind and the sighs of trees. Come 2016, they dug her up, and the name Sonia K. Blair Adams came back to life like a ghost finally given a voice. But who took her life and why? Well, that's a question that lingers like smoke caught in a still room. And some say, on a night when the air's heavy and the fog curls low, you might see her standing by the roadside, staring at the road that failed to lead her home. Now listen close, 'cause this here's a part of the tale most folks don't tell till the fire's burning low and the crickets start to singin'. Red Dog Road ain't just haunted by the stories of miners and the shadow of sorrow that runs through it. Nah, there's something else out there. Something that'll set your skin to tingling and make you look twice over your shoulder. I'm talking about the ghostly lights that dance along the old coal trails, the very paths where the carts used to clatter and roll down the mountain with their bellies full of black gold. Back in the day, when a shift was over and the sun was barely a memory, them miners 'd hitch a ride down on the empty coal cars. It was dangerous, sure as sin, but it was quicker than walking, and when you'd been breathing dust and swinging a pick for 16 hours straight, you took what speed you could get. The rails sang with the squeal of metal and the hollering of men letting loose after a day that had drained the life out of a mule. But not every man who rode those rails made it home. The brakes would give out, or the weight of the mountain would send a car flying off into the trees, taking whoever was clinging to it along for the ride. And that's where the lights come in, you see. Folks say that when the night comes quiet and the fog starts settling like a blanket over the hills, you can see 'em, little balls of light dancing and moving down those same trails, like spirits riding the ghost of an old coal car. Sometimes it's just one light, flickering and swaying like a lantern held by an unsteady hand. But there have been nights when folks have claimed to see a whole line of them trailing down the mountain, moving fast and wild, just like the men who used to ride. They say you can hear the faint whoop and holler of a miner calling out, like he's riding free one last time, the wind rushing by with nothing but the memory of laughter to carry him. Some old-timers reckon those lights are the spirits of miners who never made it off the rails, still riding that path they knew so well, refusing to leave the only way down they ever trusted. Others say it's the mountain, remembering the lives it took, playing out their stories in the dance of ghostly lanterns that light up the dark. I've heard tell of hunters and hikers who swear on their granddaddy's grave they saw those lights moving down the ridge, and how when they tried to follow, the lights just faded away, leaving behind nothing but the whisper of the trees and the creak of old wood that ain't there no more. One fella even said he caught the scent of coal smoke, sharp and bitter, like an old fire burning where there ain't no flame. So if you're ever out by Red Dog Road and you see those lights dancing their way down the mountain, best tip your hat and say a word of respect. 'Cause those spirits ain't riding for you. They're riding for the life they once had, and they ain't got no mind to be watched by the living. And if you hear a shout or a laugh echo in the distance, well, you'll know why those old miners said the mountain never forgets its own. Now you see, these stories don't stay buried any more than the men who walk that road. Modern folk, they come with their gadgets, looking for proof. Recorders pick up whispers where there ain't no mouths to speak, and cameras catch glimpses of shapes hiding in the trees like they're playing a game as old as fear itself. But Red Dog Road ain't just a place for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. It's a place where the past breathes, where the cries of miners and the sobs of their kin still roll down the hills when the night gets too quiet. The road remembers, and it tells its stories if you listen real close. So next time someone dares you to take a walk down Red Dog, reckon you ought to think twice. You ain't just walking a road, you're stepping on the bones of men who gave all they had, the whispers of women who waited, and the spirits that don't quite know how to rest. And when the wind blows and that lantern light flickers, you'll know that Red Dog Road is as alive with memory as it ever was with the thrum of coal carts and the scrape of tired boots. With that, Red Dog Road stays alive in the stories it tells, a scar running through Harlan that refuses to heal, and a tale that won't stop being told as long as there's a soul to shiver at its name. Now that you've heard this tale, I'd love to know what y'all think. Do you believe the ghostly lights on Red Dog Road are the spirits of miners taking one last ride? Or is it just the mountain playing tricks on folks? Maybe you've got your own stories from these parts, or heard tales passed down through the family. Drop your thoughts, theories, and stories in the comments below. Your voice is what keeps the spirit of these Kentucky legends alive, and I can't wait to see what you all have to say. So let's hear it. What do you believe? Thanks for sticking around, folks. If you're enjoying these stories and want to dive deeper into the rich tales of Kentucky, don't forget to subscribe to Kentucky Melody. We've got plenty more legends, ghost stories, and hidden gems waiting for you. And if you're feeling brave, why not join us as a backwoods believer? You'll get exclusive perks, behind-the-scenes content, and help keep the stories of our beloved Kentucky alive and well. Tap that notification bell so you never miss a tale. And remember to share your thoughts and stories with us in the comments. Your support keeps this channel singing. Reckon that's all I got for tonight, but don't be wandering too far. You never know when those ghost lights might decide to show you the way down the mountain, whether you're ready or not. See you next time.